Big Kel
Big Kel
and Kahuna
and Kahuna
podcast.
podcast. Mwah. For sure.
Welcome, episode 22. Big Kel,
And Kahuna,
Kelly.
Alec.
There you go. Today is Saturday, May 17th, and the PGA tournament is on right now.
Quail Hollow.
Quail Hollow.
Got some dude I've never heard of who's leading it.
Yeah, I've never heard of that guy. Vegas.
Jonathan Vegas, spelled Jhon.
A couple T's in there, too.
It's the dumbest way I've ever seen someone spell
Oh,
Jonathan.
he's Venezuelan. That's probably why.
Yeah.
All right,
Think it's his real
so
name.
this morning we both watched the recap from last week. I don't think there's anything to recap.
What did we even talk about last week? Formula One.
Kelly LeBrock
Imola.
being unclean.
Who?
Kelly LeBrock after forever unclean because of Steven Seagal. I sent you that picture, Steven,
Yeah, he looks like shit.
the most recent one.
Bro, he's like 60 and all his hair is jet black.
He's paint
Yeah.
your bald spot.
He went to meet like a
Do you know that's
dictator.
how bad men are? That we had spray paint to paint your fucking bald spot
Oh, that's pretty
in the
much
70s
Rogan,
and 80s.
right?
Terrible.
Well, don't black people do that too now to like clear out their lines of their hairline?
I have no idea.
I see some barbers like hold a guide and like spray paint.
Oh. You know
That's
what's
a
the
funny
worst
thing.
is the ladies who spent their whole life plucking out their eyebrows now get tattooed eyebrows.
I saw that. So if you were a woman,
They actually didn't look bad.
would you rather have to tattoo your eyebrows on or look like that woman in that Frida Kahlo painting?
Look, I don't know why women pluck the shit out of their
For you.
eyebrows.
They do for you,
I never
for
ask
men.
I never ask a woman to do that.
Yeah,
As long as her eyebrows don't look like Eugene Levy,
yeah.
you know, from American Pie and Schitt's Creek and all that, then they'll be fine. But, you know, even a little bit thinner than mine or same size as mine is fine.
Well, Italian women have eyebrows like yours, a little bushy.
Look, man, you know what looks worse?
No
Not
eyebrows.
even the real thin ones that most of them do because they pluck them down real low.
Uh-huh.
Is the ladies who have the eyebrow that looks like sperm. So
Mm.
they get the hump here, you know, where I have it.
And then it just goes straight
and then
to a
it
tail.
tails really, really thin. And I'm like, oh, you can't. I'm just stuck looking at the sperm eyebrows.
I like seeing those dudes with the vampire hairlines, the Dracula hairline,
the
where
Eddie
it's like
Munster one?
it's a big V right
Yeah,
here.
that's like Eddie Munster.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I've been seeing a lot, dude. There's a lot of funny videos on Instagram and Twitter nowadays.
But what?
So you know how on Facebook you can swipe just to go to another video? Instagram has that same thing. Apparently X has it too. So I've been seeing a lot of funny videos. I mean, I just showed you one where a dude knocks out another guy in Brazil and then the
Yeah.
dude's girl comes after him, so he sidekicks her in the fucking chin.
Well, I was telling you earlier that one I found funny this week was that guy on Call of Duty playing as an Indian guy.
Plant the bee. Oh, I've taken that before. No, boy. No, bitch. Plant the bomb.
He's really funny. It's
He's a
just
good one.
pure, shameless
There's a
humor, but sometimes
another
you
guy
have to kill time.
who goes and plays Call of Duty with a soundboard. So whenever someone speaks, he records it and replays it to piss people off.
Yeah.
So he's just playing the soundboard. When people die, they usually get mad.
Oh.
So he just repeats it until people quit. There's another guy who talks like Trump. Yeah, there's a lot of people that do that stuff. It's pretty interesting. I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, though.
All right, so we
Yeah,
watched
funny videos.
we watched the qualifying at Imola this morning. What's your take, aside from the fact McLaren's look like they're the better cars?
I want to see something on the signs tomorrow.
Yeah, he looked good in Q2. He had the top time in Q2.
Yeah. I don't know.
What did he finish,
why
6 or
they're so
7?
good. 7 or 8, something like that.
And Albon was in the top 10 too. Didn't they get 2 in the top 10?
I think so.
Or was he 11 or 12?
I don't know.
They did
I
better
think
than
Albon
expected.
made.
Aston Martin did better than expected.
Well, Aston Martin's got new upgrades. Red Bull has new upgrades too, but Yuki shit the bed
yeah,
again.
and then that Antonelli kid didn't even get out of Q2.
Yeah, you know he brought a bunch of his classmates and his teachers to the paddock for the weekend, so that must be embarrassing for him.
Yeah, you would think so.
But still, the kid's 18 years
He's
old,
still
and
there.
he's a better driver than I'll ever be. So
All
gotta
right,
give
so
him
who's
credit.
the podium? Is it? I still think McLaren gets 2
Piastri.
of them. And Verstappen.
Piastri 1, Verstappen 3, Norris 2. Because Verstappen can qualify with them, but you saw in Miami.
You don't think he can hang with him?
I don't know. They got upgrades for this race, so we shall see. But
they ain't nowhere to pass.
every one of those teams is bitching about McLaren's tires because they have air ducts in them apparently, which
Huh?
hey, it's fair game.
Hey man, there's always got to be somebody who does it first, right? They didn't do anything illegal.
That's what I love about Formula One.
You know who bitched the most?
When a team innovates and is better than all the other teams
Have
come
to catch
together to complain to the FIA to try and get the innovation banned.
I found it funny that Christian Horner was the one bitching this time.
Yeah, but the guy who always complains
Toto
the
used to
most,
bitch.
obviously, is Toto.
Yeah.
No, Mikey, that's just not right. That guy's a weird dude. His girl looks like a succubus, too.
No, most of them do.
But yeah, we shall see. It's a shame to see Ferrari got 11 and 12 in their home track, which is also funny because they have 2 home tracks, technically.
Yeah, but the sad part is that those cars can't do better than 11 and 12. So is the car shit or the drivers?
That's not true. They screwed up on the chicane. Those Ferraris can't take that chicane all that well.
So it's not the right.
So it's the car. It's not the driver. Well, that's what you said.
Yeah, well, the car can't. They can't handle it right.
But I think Hamilton had a lockup, which is why he didn't make it. But I don't really care. I haven't cared about Ferrari since Vettel was on the team.
Oh, I didn't even care about him then.
Yeah.
Was Schumacher the last good one?
Schumacher, yeah, he was good. Doesn't he have some sort of weird physical ailment nowadays?
I have no idea anymore.
I think he hurt himself skiing and messed up his brain or something.
Oh, he might have.
So
He might have.
we shall see.
All right.
McLaren won too. Something drastic will have to happen to change that.
All right. We got nothing on UFC. That's coming up in a couple weeks.
I haven't seen anything UFC related in
That's
2-3 weeks.
The ladies fight, and then who fights on the main card above Kel and them? I know in the undercard will be Poirier and who is it? Holloway.
This is Louisiana, right? Because Poirier wants to retire in his home
he's
state.
fighting Holloway. Yeah, Whitaker's fighting. I don't know if he's on that card or a different card.
I haven't seen Whitaker fight in a while.
But your guy's in the main card, isn't he?
Who?
O'Malley and that Georgian guy.
Marab?
Yeah.
Deluche or whatever?
But Rob beat him last time. Decision?
By a slim margin, I think.
That was
Or
a decision, right?
I think. We shall see. Sean O'Malley is...
O'Malley should take it, but we'll see.
He's a joker,
Unless he gets
but-
wrestled down. He might get wrestled down.
He could. You know, he doesn't have that strong of a takedown
No,
defense.
he doesn't. He does not.
We shall see.
All right.
Who
we
knows
got
if we'll even pay for that one.
NFL spring training coming along. Baseball's moving along. We're starting to get. We got the Final Four for basketball playoffs.
Like
Not
the
yet.
NBA?
Not yet. Yeah.
Who are the top 4 teams?
Celtics just lost to the Knicks. So the Knicks are playing the Pacers on one side, and then the other side is the Timberwolves, and I think Oklahoma City, I think.
Interesting. I was hearing that LeBron is retiring at the end of this year.
Nah.
That's not true?
Nah, they might trade him, but
Why would they? They can't trade him. He just brought his son to the team.
it's not their problem.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They got it because he's only got 1 or 2 more years, and it's you build a team around him. Otherwise, trade him to the Cavaliers. He could help the Cavaliers make one more run for the championship, especially since Cavaliers was swept. Well, they weren't swept, but they were beat 4-1 by the Pacers, and they were a better team.
The Pacers haven't been good for 20 years.
That's true. At times they've been above average, but they haven't been a quality team.
They were good back when everyone dressed like Will Ferrell and semi-pro.
Yeah, when Reggie Miller was there.
When Pistol Pete was
And a
was
little bit
Pistol Pete
after.
a Piston, or was he on a different team?
No, he wasn't he was
Or a Pacer?
No, I don't think he was a Pacer. He could have been, but I think he was a Utah Jazz
Pistol Pete.
and something else.
I
So.
don't watch basketball.
You know what I signed up for? I'm watching on my feed. I get the Indiana Fever, the women. It's Caitlin Clark's team.
Oh yeah.
I think they're gonna take everything this year. I should put money on them.
She's so much better than everybody else.
Yeah, but they got a good two.
How's the team without her?
They got 3 enforcers this year,
Mm.
and they're quality people. So they got a good team.
So if she gets injured, the team will be fine.
Yeah.
I think if Angela Reese punches
But-
her or
but-
something.
But she's got some people that'll lean on people for this year, which would be good.
That Angela Reese chick reminds me of
Angel Reese.
whatever. She reminds me of Megan Rapinoe
How so?
or Rapinoe, the soccer player, because
How
both
so?
of them bitch that the corresponding leagues need to pay their players more, and neither of them have come to the sensible conclusion that you get paid based off of how much money you bring in.
Yeah.
The WNBA is owned by the NBA, and it's like a $49 million loss every year
Yeah, I
that
don't.
they have to write off.
I know they don't make money, but
They lose money every year.
but you can't look. I will say I get what you're saying, and I'm like 100% there. But you know, when you have someone on a second-year contract like Caitlin Clark, and they make 75 grand for a season,
Yeah.
that you know they don't need to be making $1 million, but
Well,
come
dude,
on.
she makes $1 million on all her endorsements.
Yeah,
and-
but that's just her. That ain't everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
a rising tide brings up all ships, but
But you mentioned
they
Indiana.
need to be paying a little, but they got to figure out how they can draw people because they're not drawing anybody.
You know why she makes $75K, even being as good as she is? Because when you mentioned Indiana Fever, I thought you were following an Instagram account of like women in Indiana going crazy. I didn't know that was actually the WNBA's name.
Yeah.
Nobody knows anything about the WNBA.
No,
Who's
hardly anybody does.
who's our equivalent at Washington?
Mystics.
The Mystics. Yeah. I think now here's a hot take.
They won a championship one time with the Della Dawn girl. She's really good.
What's
She's come
the-
out of Delaware.
What's the league under NHL? What's that called?
AHL or OHL or oh yeah, the top minor.
Yeah, the
well, they got
minor.
the Ontario Hockey League. They got the American Hockey.
Well, the team that
League.
like the Hershey Bears is on, or the league the
I think
Hershey
that's
Bears
the
is in.
AHL. I don't
Okay.
know.
I'm willing to bet you the AHL makes more money than the WNBA. Well, they would have to make more than negative $49 million. So that's probably not a fair equivalent.
Oh, I don't think the league makes that much money. I think they make enough to stay afloat and then some. But remember, a lot of those guys' salaries, though, too, aren't paid by the teams. They're paid by the owner, the major team.
Right.
And this is their farm system. See, that's a little different.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Isn't there something big in baseball coming up soon?
no.
Like some World Games? Because they were complaining that Ohtani wasn't the U.S. team captain.
I don't know. I never heard that story, by the way. No, I don't know when that's coming up. If it does, it'll be in the summer.
Okay.
All right, so we got any craziness going on? Your president had a masterful trip to the Middle East.
I think he's still there.
No, he came back.
Okay, well, so there's a lot to talk about with Trump in the Middle East. I guess I'll kick it over to you to talk about the $400 million jet everybody's
give a shit
complaining
about
about.
I'm not going to talk about that. Why do I care?
You don't have a take on that?
Accept a gift.
That's usually how it goes. But it's interesting that they're covering that for a majority of the time rather than the executive order he signed limiting the drug prices.
Yeah, but that's not unexpected. That was actually before he went on his trip, but that's not unexpected.
Who
You know.
was the guy who had a freak out during RFK's thing this week?
I have no idea.
Some dude like stood up and started chanting.
I have no idea who that was.
Okay, well, I like Trump going to the Middle East to talk to Qatar and Dubai. It'd be interesting.
UAE.
The UAE. It'll be interesting to see what that'll do There's also rumors that Trump might recognize Palestine as an actual state. And then Netanyahu said if they did that, he'll respond unilaterally. So you know what that means. Could be
I
a
don't know what
false
that
flag.
means.
Well, he will respond to Palestine being recognized by the U.S. in a negative fashion.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't. I get what Trump's trying to do with that one, but you got to define the borders a little bit and establish some stuff because that's not how it works. But that could be a long-standing thing, but we'll have to see.
We shall see. I liked when he walked into that palace, Al Qaib or Yaib, whatever it's called, the palace, and you just see him probably 100 feet away with the prince. He goes, wow, you have a nice house. So, I mean, he's a jokester. So, I like seeing that video of Air Force One being escorted by the 14 fighter jets. That was cool to see.
Yeah.
That was from the ground that video was taken. There was also a shot in the
camels.
There was a shot in the plane where one of the reporters that Trump had with him asked him, well, why do you need the fighter jets? I think he said something akin to, well, let's just say something could happen, but that's why we have them. I think he's just messing with people.
Nah, that's just who he is. All right, we haven't had too many crazy Dems of the week this week.
Well, you got all the shit going on with Diddy.
Well, I was talking about Democrats.
Crazy Democrats.
The only crazy thing is, and I'll talk at the end of the week because he'll be my bitch of the week, is James Comey with the 86-47 comments. That fucker trying to say he doesn't know what 86 means. He thinks it means just cancel. It doesn't mean
Isn't
kill
he being
somebody.
investigated now?
Yeah, the Secret Service interviewed him yesterday, they said, for 70 minutes. But the issue with that dumbass is he did all kinds of organized crime. 86 is an old organized crime thing. 8 miles out, 6 feet deep. Comey knew exactly what he was saying. He's a liar to say he isn't. But a disingenuous
He was the head of the FBI, right?
Well, Trump
Well, of
fired
course
him,
he's a liar.
And he's been butthurt ever since. Jim Comey is butthurt, and he's a liar.
You don't get to being the head of the CIA without being a liar.
He's an
or
FBI.
FBI.
Well,
So.
he's one of those guys. I came across a bunch of them in the government who believe themselves to be holier than thou.
That's James Clapper.
They hold a moral high ground. Therefore, whatever they're doing is right, and the manner in which they're doing it is right, no matter what it is.
Any means necessary.
It's dog shit people like that.
I don't like that philosophy because using that philosophy, you can justify almost anything.
Yeah. And that's why he thinks himself to be an American hero for all the shit he did, making up the Russiagate hoax and all that other stuff, not prosecuting Hillary because of her emails or bringing a charge against her or turning some to DOJ, denying Hunter's laptop when they had the laptop the whole time and they knew it. Him and that Peter Strzok and that Andy McCabe, I think is his name.
McCabe.
He's the deputy. All three of those and a whole bunch more. Piece of shit.
Speaking of Hunter Biden, apparently the Biden family is going broke.
Well, yeah, you can't get illegal
Can't
grafting.
get any illegal funding.
It sounds like they're.
Did you see him?
That's like living on overtime pay.
Yeah.
When overtime gets cut, you're in
I
trouble.
think Kamala Harris still owes like $20 million because of all the money that was raised for her campaign, even though she lost.
You sure?
Was it earlier this week or was it last
She
week?
had billions of dollars. How did she owe money?
I don't know. Was it this week or last week when Joe Biden went on The View?
Last week.
That was kind of a disaster.
Yeah. Well, did you hear they released tapes? Axios got a leaked copy of the tapes that Special Counsel Hur used to interview him about the classified documents.
All the ones next to his Corvette.
You should pull that up and listen to it this afternoon. He sounds like your grandpa. Why do you need to go to the store, Grandpa? Because I don't have any food. They feed you 3 times a week, and your house is full. Because I get some food. He doesn't remember dates.
No.
He thought Trump was elected in 2017, and it's
Well,
2016.
that's okay. That's not that big of a a mental mistake because he was inaugurated 2017.
Yeah, but you got to listen to it.
He's dumb as rocks.
No. Just listen to the tape and then you'll see.
Apparently,
so that's going on.
apparently, he's gonna have an autobiography to make some money.
Well, he's gonna have to do something.
But you know he's not gonna write a single word of that book.
No. Have a ghostwriter.
So
or
it'd be
his wife will
curious.
help.
It'd be curious to see what that looks like when it comes out.
Well, he's writing his book for his legacy, so it'll be his perspective of all the great stuff he's done.
Do you remember that lone survivor guy, Marcus Luttrell?
Yeah,
So his lone survivor book was ghostwritten too,
yeah,
and apparently a lot of Navy. He was the guy who got really drunk on Rogan.
yeah.
Apparently, a lot of SEALs came out and said he was full of shit on a lot of those things. But I was reading it when I went to Shannon's house for that. When I got back together with her just to go to her beach house to get seafood, I was reading it. The first 50 pages, he's like blaming everything on liberals. The ghostwriter was very politically charged in his book, so that was funny to see. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Joe Biden's book.
Yeah.
I certainly won't read it.
No.
Hey, maybe it'll make our book of the week.
I'm definitely not reading that. And I haven't seen too many crazies going on.
I haven't seen Barack Obama do anything this week. I haven't seen Michelle do anything.
They usually don't.
Oh, there's a new Dylan Mulvaney thing. So
Okay.
there's a brand. You got to talk for a little bit while I find this. So you know Dylan Mulvaney was the
Bud Light one.
the dude woman who was the Bud Light
Yeah.
spokesperson. Apparently, a new company picked him up.
For what?
Doop-boop-boop-a-doop-a-doop. Versace. So he was in a Versace ad. So now Versace's getting the Bud Light treatment because of Dylan Mulvaney. And they did it worse than Bud Light because Bud Light sent out, that whole thing started because Bud Light sent out
Yeah, I know how.
to
it
creators a bunch of
Yeah.
unique cans. This is an actual ad campaign by Versace with Dylan Mulvaney.
started. Well, that's a mistake. But I don't think you can tell stubborn Italians anything.
Wasn't there a documentary about the dude who stalked
Killed him.
Versace? What was his name? It was some weird name.
I don't know who the dude's name, but yeah, he got her. He got him.
Yeah, he stalked and killed that guy.
All right. Not too much with history or other stuff. So the only thing I'll tell you on health hacks and book chapters is
Well, hold on. There is one thing about history. We could talk about India, Pakistan.
I don't know enough to speak.
So
about
India,
that.
Pakistan. You know about Kashmir, which is why they're
Yeah.
squabbling right now.
Is it?
Yeah, but apparently, so the western 44% of Pakistan is a province that is very rich in natural resources, and apparently their population has been oppressed by the Pakistani military, but now they want to become their own country. You'll never guess. It ends with Stan, but they want to be named Balochistan. And apparently they're rebel fighters who have been combating the army are actually beating the army now. So
Well, that won't
we
last
might
long.
we might see a new country here in a couple weeks.
Not a chance. Not
Well,
a
they
chance.
sent
I'll
their
take whatever
request
bet
to
you
the
want.
EU.
It will not be a country in a couple weeks.
All right, well, I bet you Balochistan will be a country by the end of the year. I bet you $1.
Well, you're on.
All right.
All right, we'll go from there. All right, so the only thing on the book chapters is we talked about it before. We'll talk about it again, getting sleep, but also to de-stress. So, don't hop yourself up on your cameras or on the TV or the computer before you go to bed. Try to get yourself calm so you get real good sleep. The other thing is that everybody should practice the art of being able to sit alone in silence and quiet for a half hour a day.
Yeah, good luck telling that to my generation.
Just to calm yourself. Well, that's the intent. Your brain has to recharge sometimes, and it has to have plenty of sleep to do that, or you can just calm it to give it a break to clear out. You're running a mile a minute on everything in your head, It'll wear on your autonomic and your sympathetic systems and
Your
fucking blood
limbic,
pressure.
if your limbic system is
your
messed
blood
up, you're
pressure
screwed.
gets screwed up. Everything. So
Well,
you got to learn to calm.
I know that from
is the issue.
experience because
Find a way to do it.
I know that from experience because there were times of UVA where I was prescribed Adderall back then. I haven't had it in, I don't know, 6 to 8 years. But I would take Adderall and I would basically study for a test for 36 hours, so I'd be up for 2 days straight. It took me a week to get back to normal just from pulling an all-nighter. I imagine it would be worse now.
Look,
the older you get, the harder that stuff becomes.
Yeah. I was talking. I was listening to something the other day, and they said, you could have 3 days of perfect sleep in a row, and then you could throw a 4-hour sleep behind it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll take you days to get back.
Yeah.
And when you have issues like that, it increases all kinds of stress on your body. And if you're an habitual sleeper that doesn't go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time, get the right sleep, you could take 5, 10, 15, 20 years off of your life.
Yeah.
Because that shit all compounds. So.
Speaking of habitual, that reminded me of Charlie Murphy.
Yeah.
Habitual line stepper.
Yeah. That's the best one, man. Rick James, right?
Rick James.
What was the title of it? Not True Story of Rick James.
Real time.
Charlie Brown. I'm not Charlie Brown. Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy's Untold Stories or something.
Yeah, something like that. So that was good.
Well, how did he die?
Either that or Wayne Brady being a pimp.
Because Charlie Murphy died like 5-10 years ago,
something.
right?
Yeah, or something. He got real skinny and gaunt at the end. He might have had cancer or something. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. All right, so we got to do top 5, but we got to do it off top of our heads. So what's something you want to? You know what? How about top 5 toys?
What are we talking here?
So, well, they have to be when you were like a kid. So, for example,
okay,
everybody, I never had it. My fucking cheap parents wouldn't buy me one, but everybody had a big wheel or a green machine, which allowed you to do all kinds of stuff. The G.I. Joe doll when I was younger was actually a life-size one, so he would, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches bigger than Barbie. And he had a beard, and he came in a wooden footlocker, like the size of a shoebox.
Oh, that was pretty cool.
When my little brother had it, it was like 6 inches tall. So that was cool. Yo-yos were good.
Yeah, dude.
Stretch Armstrong.
Remember when I was in
jarts. That was one of my favorite ones. They got rid of those.
What?
They're called jarts. Jarts. So they give you a circle, a plastic, right? And you put it on the ground, and they give you 3 darts. 3 red, 3 yellow. They're lawn darts.
Oh.
They're that
it's
long.
It's like that, but
it's
magnetic.
They're long. No.
Oh.
They're like that long.
Oh.
Half of it is 3 plastic wings, feathers.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is like a dart. It's weighted with a tip. Not a sharp tip, but a tip nonetheless. And then you would throw it. It's kind of like cornhole, but you're trying to throw it in the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had to recall it. God did this too. Kids were throwing them up in the air.
That's like that scene from Grown Ups where they all stand in a circle and shoot the arrow.
But this was a lawn dart. It was a jart. And those
you played chicken?
Go up, they're about a couple pounds.
Could they penetrate your skin?
Oh, if they come down from 20, 30 feet, yeah, they go right through in your head and stuff.
Well, no wonder they
recall. So I think somebody got hurt or killed, so they recalled those.
All right, so
Commodore 64.
If we're doing toys, let's exclude video games because that's too easy. So
football.
I'm going to use my reference point as like things I played with from the age of 6 to 14. So you go ahead with your top 5.
Well, I think you got to put a yo-yo in there.
Okay.
I think you got to put a Nerf football has to go in there.
Okay. Oh yeah, remember I collected all the Nerf footballs?
Yeah.
I was
I
actually
don't know if
going
it's
to
a toy or not, but
that.
I always had a bike, so got to have a bike. I like something called a pitchback.
Oh yeah, you throw. It's like the machine dogs use nowadays.
Well, no.
Oh no! Oh, you're talking about the rectangle mesh thing that bounces the ball back. Okay. Not a launcher.
And then I like my Matchbox track.
Matchbox
Hot
is
Wheels
good.
track.
Okay. So I'm going to go with Bionicles. Remember those Bionicles I had? Those were really cool.
Takayama. What is that other thing you had?
So thanks for ruining
Oh.
it. Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi.
Those things are going on eBay now for hundreds of bucks.
I know. We should have saved
I had
all
like
yours.
50 of them.
You gonna do Thomas the Tank Engine?
Fuck no. So what? So I said Bionicles, Tamagotchi. Gotta go with Legos, and I'm gonna cheat here. Legos / Mega Blocks.
Yeah. Oh, I used to like Lincoln Logs.
Lincoln Logs are good.
Erector set.
I used to play with those at Dick's house in Lake of the Woods. Rubik's Cube.
Okay.
Love me a good Rubik's
I
Cube.
used to like that paddle game with the ball on the paddle.
Oh, yeah. It's like mini tetherball kind of.
Yeah.
And then this is a dark horse, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. Like an honorable mention would obviously be Pokemon cards. But I am going to go with Beyblades.
Okay.
I used to love those Beyblades.
That's cool. I'm good with that. All right. So with that, let's just have a little spitball round. The next top 5 of best games to play on the playground during recess. For me, number 1 is tetherball.
Tetherball. Sharks and minnows.
Okay.
Kickball.
Well, then dodgeball.
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 With the rubber balls, though. With the rubber balls.
The red ones.
Yeah, not like nowadays where they use the foam balls.
Yeah, but I want the big ball, the medium ball,
Yeah.
and I want that fucking grapefruit sized ball.
Bro,
too.
there are videos of people
Getting
as
killed
adults getting killed. They're putting
No, but you
spin
gotta
on them.
You gotta do like a medium ball.
They're putting spin on them. Chicks are getting
So I changed
their head knocked
dodgeball
off.
to number 1, tetherball to number 2,
Kickball.
Kickball's cool. You know what I used to like playing?
The swing set.
Is badminton
Badminton, yeah.
and basketball.
Basketball, playing horse or pig.
Or straight 21.
Hangman. Is Hangman a game? That's more of a mental thing.
No, you got to answer the question right. You got somebody. Yeah, no, that's it.
But I like kickball. The field day was always fun. I remember that one time in like 3rd grade, I got suspended because during field day, some kid made fun of mom, so I hit him.
I remember.
And then when you found out I got suspended, you took me to Target and bought me a toy.
There you go.
When you found out why.
Did you ever do the Presidential Physical Fitness Awards?
Yeah, so the pacer test.
Well, so
And then you had to do a certain amount of pull-ups.
Let me say it, see if you had it. So you had the 600-yard dash.
No, we had a pacer.
What's that?
When you run back and forth on the gymnasium and the thing counts.
Oh, okay. So we had the 600-yard dash, 1.5 times around the track. We had the 60-yard dash.
Mm-hmm.
We had the shuttle run.
Okay.
You know what shuttle run is, right?
Yeah.
Back and
With
forth.
the baton.
We had the broad jump.
No, we didn't do that.
We had sit-ups.
Okay. We had that.
And then we had pull-ups.
We had that. And then, do you remember the thing?
I set records in middle school and 5th grade on everything, but I could only do like 2 fucking pull-ups, man. I never got my badge.
Good at pull-ups.
Now I could do the flex. The girls got to do the flexed arm hang because they had less upper. See, there's another reason why trans men are different than real women, or trans women are different.
More upper body strength.
Pull up versus flexed arm hang.
And
I
then
can do
girl
flexed arm
pull-ups.
hang forever.
Girl pull-ups.
What's that?
When you go on your knees.
That's a push-up.
Push up, right. A flex arm hang is the thing that the military brings around to all
the
the
women.
conferences where you have to hold on to the bar.
It's hard for dudes too.
And then you had that metal box that
You
you
should
put.
be able to do a minute. I can't do a minute yet.
You know. You remember that metal box you put your feet in and you had to push the thing on top to see how far you could go?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was the bane of my existence, especially since I tore my ACLs because my knees.
I'm depressed as fuck.
so
I saw
tight.
this guy. He was in the draft. He was a defensive lineman, young black fella from Florida. The dude's like 6'3", like 467 pounds.
That's a big boy.
Some like let's say 450. The fucker got a. So you know how they do the vertical leap, right? They have you stand underneath and put your hand up, and they mark you, and then they put those little like tongue depressors so you can go up. That fucking dude got
He
a
hit all of them?
25-inch vertical leap. I can't do 12.
I can-
25-inch. You got 450 pounds.
Do you start from straight legs, or are you allowed to bend your
No,
knees?
you're allowed to bend and go up.
I could probably hit 24 inches.
I don't know, man.
I mean, I do it all the
That's 2
time when I
feet.
jump in the parking lot.
That's 2 feet. Well, I was impressed that this 450 plus pound dude got up.
Yeah, the fact that
25
he
inches.
can move that much weight 2 feet up in the air is pretty impressive. Yeah,
And I think he's with Tampa Bay next to Vita Vea.
those guys
So
are
that'll
freaking
be
nature.
800 pounds of beef in the middle there.
Yeah, that's gonna be dangerous.
Don't run in the middle
Yeah.
of Tampa.
If he sits on someone like me or you, it would collapse our lung,
It hurt.
break our rib cage.
Oh, speaking of which, so when we were talking about going through clips, we got to start doing that, Alec, where we just queue up some clips and watch them. But there was this heavy set, like trailer trash white gal, and her skinny, leaner African American boyfriend.
That's always how it goes.
And she was whipping his ass. Like he told her to shut up or something. And she just fucking laid across his ass on the ground and wouldn't let him up and made him surrender. Then he got up and I think just took off.
That reminds me, there was a woman who went to jail like 5 or 10 years ago because her and her husband were getting drunk, and he pissed her off. So she put him in a suitcase and zipped it up, and he was begging to get out for
She
like
killed
an
him.
hour, and she was
killed him.
laughing at it. He suffocated in his suitcase.
No, I saw that one. She tried to play it. Oh, so we'll spend a couple minutes on this and then we'll go into the end of the show. I tried to watch those specials on Netflix and HBO,
What
and I was
specials?
watching the highlights.
Oh, what specials?
Your boy Diddy is fucked. That
You
guy-
watched those documentaries?
No, I was trying to, but the previews were too disturbing, and the shit I've been reading and following, that dude ain't never getting out.
Well, he co-opted Bieber when he was like 16.
Yeah, and I don't need to know that.
So this is
But-
going to be
but-
different than Epstein
Oh, no.
because I think names are going to get released.
Oh no,
Because
well,
with Epstein, it's heads of state, so they're going to stay
no, they're-
anonymous.
no,
but
no,
with
they're
this,
going
it's
through the
movie
Ep-
stars.
No, they're going through the Epstein file right now, protecting the names of the victims, and they're going to release a bunch of stuff. But that Diddy stuff, man, he's that's evil.
Yeah, 1,000
And
bottles
everybody
of baby
knew
oil.
about that shit.
Well, they were complicit.
No, but for over a decade,
Diddy freak offs. Well, you remember from?
he ain't never getting out, man.
No, he's fucked.
And his hair's all gray. Did you see that?
Yeah, he turned
He
gray. real
can't dye
quick.
his hair. He
He's
turned
fucked.
gray. He can't dye it. He
He's
got no
never
hair
getting
dye.
out. But you know what's funny? So everybody was complicit, and everybody knows he was like that. Here's a good example. You remember that movie Get Him to the Greek with Russell
Yeah.
Brand and Jonah Hill?
Yeah, he did something. in
And
there.
Diddy was the music producer.
Yeah.
Remember when they were in the hotel room and they got away from Diddy and Diddy started chasing them down the hall? And they got out and like drove away and he was chasing the car.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Well, it was a perfect representation of who he is
Well,
as a
all I'm
person.
saying is he's fucked. That guy is never getting out. And
It's
he
gonna-
might get Clinton in jail.
No. It's going to be interesting to see who's implicated in that, what movie stars are named. So I think Leonardo DiCaprio could get named in that. Ellen, the genitals. Apparently Ellen like molested Justin Bieber when he was underage. So
That's some horrific shit, man.
no wonder that guy's fucked up. I never liked Justin Bieber. He's always been a kind of a fruit in my opinion. But if they got him when he was like 15,
Nah,
16,
That's horrendous.
no wonder
that's
he's all
heinous.
messed up now. It's the same thing with Amanda Bynes. Have you seen Amanda Bynes lately?
What, did she get molested too?
She got fucked up. Yeah, because
No, I've seen
Nickelodeon.
It. I don't need to see it anymore.
Nickelodeon
Yeah, no,
with
I know who
Dan
she is.
Schneider.
I know who she is.
Dan Schneider was the one molesting everybody at Nickelodeon.
That's horrific. This is a special place in hell for those
That's
people.
Hollywood, baby. Yeah, that's a good thought experiment. If we assume Dante's Inferno is correct,
It's not.
but assuming it is, which of the 7 layers of hell do you think those people would go to?
Worse.
The worst. Thinking
What's
second to
worse
worst.
than somebody taking advantage of a person who can't defend themselves sexually and morally corrupting
Genocide?
them?
Genocide's worse?
Well, yeah, genocide is, but it's. I think crimes against innocence,
Women and
which is
children.
genocide, is genocide. But I also think that crime that takes innocence is the worst.
Looking at you, BB Netanyahu.
So, all right.
So yeah, Diddy's fucked. He's never
So
getting
what's
out.
your book of the week?
I don't have a book this week, and I'm gonna say that unashamedly. No book.
Okay. Well, I'd do a comic book, but I don't know a good comic book.
Well, you know what? Fine. Here's a good book. Ender's Game.
That's not bad.
You
That's
could
not
say
bad.
Dune, right? Because
I
it was
never
written
read-
in the
I never
40s.
read Dune.
I tried reading Dune in high school. I got caught up with how many times they used the word hegemony, so I only made it like 50 pages. I was talking to Dan.
What was that one I told you? Meditative Thoughts by Marcus Aurelius. That's a good book.
Meditations.
Meditation.
But you already mentioned that like
Did
4
I?
weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh.
But any Stoicism literature is good. That Ryan Holiday guy
Yeah.
who runs that Daily Stoic
Yeah.
YouTube channel, he's got some good information.
I got to go back and watch some shows. You told me about some cat that did all these history things.
George Carlin, Hardcore History.
A hardcore history. All right. I'll have to take a look at that. All right. What do you got for a movie?
What do I have for...
Did you like that movie before we go on? Did you like that movie Sinners?
I
thought it
liked
was okay.
I liked Sinners. I think it flew over Mom's head.
No, it didn't.
I did like how they made like the white Irishman the evil vampires.
No, but so
Was that main guy supposed to be the devil?
Man, guy.
The one they banished who caught on fire in the water when the sun rose?
No, that was the vampire. No, you ought to look. There's a history of Irish immigrants into the South
Mm-hmm.
prior to
Slavery?
slavery.
Yeah.
And the Irish,
A lot came here because of the Irish potato famine, right?
no, the white Irish in the
We were
16
enslaved.
and 1700s.
The Irish were slaves.
Looks, man, your great 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 grandfather was an indentured servant that come out of Scotland.
Where's my reparations?
But when he was like 13 till he was 17, so
I
that's a whole nother world. But
speaking-
but what I was trying to say is,
I like that movie.
poor Irish folk in the South
They got screwed over.
were poor.
Yeah.
And then the slaves and the black, but they lived in poverty for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
In the 18 and 1900s, both just as poor as the other. So I think that's what that movie was saying. But it wasn't a bad movie. It was entertaining.
So yeah, I'll put that as my movie of the week. Sinners was good. I liked it. I want to say one thing because I mentioned reparations. There was a guy on Twitter that said reparations have been paid in the form of DEI and affirmative action. So there's your
Yeah, I'm gonna
reparations.
jump in the middle of that. So my movie is Unforgiven.
Okay.
I would have to say, although I like Gran Torino and $1 Million Baby and all the spaghetti westerns, especially Good, Bad, and the Ugly and Harry Callahan, Dirty Harry, and all that,
Mhm.
and Kelly's Heroes, I think Unforgiven's the best Clint Eastwood movie because it talks about him he was redemption and then taking care of his friend and he's just a nasty cuss.
He's still doing movies to this day. Have you seen him lately?
Dude,
he looks like
he's
shit.
about dead. He's in his 90s.
He looks like a bag of bones.
Well, he made it to the 90s.
I
So-
don't know. He's a cool guy.
So here,
like
let me
Clint
ask you a
Eastwood.
question. So I was listening to this on a podcast today. So say you're 25.
Okay.
Well, just your exact life like you have right now.
Okay.
Would you trade it for Warren Buffett's? With the billions of dollars he has and the influence and everything. Now,
Can I get to have my mind, or do I have to act like Warren Buffett? And
No, you
be-
can have your mind, but remember.
so I can like fuck hookers and do cocaine
but
with
you're
all that money.
95.
So I got 5 years, but infinite money? No.
No.
I'd rather
So
be.
time-
let's
so
go back to the
time.
argument from last week. I'd rather be Down syndrome than Warren Buffett.
but time is the most valuable resource, and the kids nowadays forget that sometimes.
yeah.
You know?
So that's two things that people don't really talk about. Time is your most valuable asset, and true wealth, I think, comes from family, not from nothing monetarily.
Yeah, that's true. And success depends on discipline, but that's a whole.
And
nother
now that
deal.
we're on the topic of movies, you remember No Country for Old Men, right?
Yeah.
So the bad guy in it with the air
Yeah.
gun. a lot of psychotherapists they did a study of all the psychopaths in movies, and he said he's the most realistic portrayal of a psychopath in any film. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a good actor. Good actor. All right, so bitch of the week for me, I already told you, is James Comey for his 86-47, and pretending stupid like he doesn't know what that means. I hope they pull his phone and look at everybody he was bragging to about it, and then put charges on him. Who's yours?
I never liked James Comey. He hasn't done anything recently because he's in jail. But you remember George Santos, right?
Yeah.
The congressman from New York, I think?
Yeah.
So they caught him in a slew of lies.
Oh, no, but they kicked his ass out due to ethics violation.
Yeah, he got kicked out.
And then he went to court.
So let's list some of these lies, right? So he said he was half black, half white, and he was also Jewish.
Yeah, and he's none of them.
Turns out he's Brazilian,
right?
A Brazilian Christian. He also he used campaign funds to purchase OnlyFans subscriptions and designer brand clothing.
Okay.
Another thing he did, he claimed to go to this
OnlyFans subscriptions.
Yeah, campaign funds for OnlyFans subscriptions.
Oh.
Gay, because he's gay. Gay OnlyFans subscriptions.
Oh.
He claimed to go to these schools, which he did not. At this college he claimed to go to, he said he was on the varsity men's volleyball team. The school he claimed to go to didn't even have a volleyball team.
Yeah. They don't even vet these guys before they run for Congress.
No, he lied about his name. There's this one podcast. The kid's name is Matan Evans. I don't know if you've ever seen clips, but the set is a white bed sheet.
No.
And he sits with black plastic chairs and tables. He's a 17-year-old kid with wacky hair who fucks with everybody.
Oh, yeah. Who called he was on that one guy we like, Jesse. He was on that Jesse guy's show.
Jamie Lee Peterson?
Yeah, Jesse Lee Peterson.
The black guy?
Yeah.
The really racist black guy?
Then I saw him on Bad Friends, and he was calling Bobby a beta.
That's funny. So, George Santos went on Matan's podcast, and he was like, given the fact that you're certainly going to go to prison within a week, why are you doing this? And he's like, oh, certainly? You really think I'm going to go to prison? He went to prison like 4 days later. He got hit with, I think, 7 years or 17 years for like wire fraud and embezzlement and that shit. But he lied about every aspect. Talk about a pathological liar.
Yeah.
He lied about everything.
And they just keep doubling down.
Hey, George Santos, you're in prison now, so you can have all the gay butt sex you want.
So he's your bitch of the week. All right, we got that. All right, so
who do you think's going to win the PGA Championship?
Oh, Scheffler.
He's -5, right? And that Vegas guy is -8.
Yeah, that Vegas guy won't be there after today.
No, I'm calling it. He'll have like a +1 or +2 round today.
And I don't think Mercedes gets on the podium tomorrow.
You don't think George Russell gets on the podium?
No, because he's not going to take Piastri or Verstappen.
Have to be Norris.
And I think Norris, I think it's a faster car.
Yeah. You want to talk about what you were saying on the car ride over here? About how something is a good predictor of where you finish?
Well, no, it's just where you crawl.
Predicated on the
but course. I would like to see, I'm sure there's something out there.
I'm sure you could ask ChatGPT and they'll have it.
Do a statistical analysis of the top 10 qualifying positions to finish, how it correlates across the last 5 seasons by track.
Yeah.
And we'll see what it does. Well, yeah, so ChatGPT will do that for us.
For sure.
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Sounds like that Indian guy on. I'm telling you, I got to send that to you. He's so funny. He called one time. He had this young kid on, African American kid. It sounded like he was like 10, and he was giving him all kinds of shit. And he said, "Put your mom on."
Yeah, dude.
Then the mom came on, and he was just vicious to her, like sexual and everything. Mom went crazy.
That dude was fucking with a little 12-year-old kid again, and this kid got so pissed off he started yelling, and then his mom came into the room, and you hear his mom yelling and like beating his ass, all because this dude with a fake Indian accent pissed him off.
Yeah.
So those prank calls are funny.
Plus he
always
also
enjoyed those.
always says he's the team leader. And he's like, cover me, rally up. And then the one with the plan B was so funny.
ChatGPT. Okay, so ChatGPT reminded me of something. Do you know Andrew Callahan?
Tommy's brother?
No, the Channel 5 news guy.
Nope.
He used to do Vice, but now he's independent. He does documentaries. Now he's got like a weekly broadcast type podcast thing where he, similar to Tim Dillon, he talks behind the desk.
Yeah.
But unsimilar to Tim Dillon, or dissimilar to Tim Dillon, he actually talks about real news rather than making comedic takes. He spoke to this one person about the Zizians. Do you know what the Zizians are?
Is it an alien?
No. So in California, in the 80s, in the 80s and the 70s, a group formed called the Rationalists who were in defense of safe AI, right? Programming AI with the precursors that it needs to help humans. And then from that, a radical group branched off under this woman whose last name was Zizian something. So they formed effectively a cult that was more radical than the Rationalists. And yeah, it was just interesting to watch because they committed murders
Is it
and
on
shit.
Netflix?
Oh, it's on YouTube.
All right, send me the link. I'll watch it.
So yeah, Zizians. That's
Okay.
a good one to look
Send
into
me a link.
more.
We'll take a look. All right, everybody. We hope you have a good week. We'll see you next week. And peace out.
Peace out.
Peace out, motherfucker.
All right.
See ya. Bye.
Disclaimer for Generations Unplugged with Big Kel and Kahuna. This is a podcast created for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed in this podcast reflect the personal experiences and opinions of the hosts and guests. Topics like health, fitness, financial well-being, and personal development are discussed based on individual perspectives and are not intended as professional medical, financial, or psychological advice. Listeners are encouraged to consult with qualified professionals before making decisions related to health, lifestyle, or finances. Each person's journey is unique, and results may vary. The creators of Generations Unplugged disclaim any liability for actions taken based on the content of this podcast. Remember, informed decisions and expert guidance are key to building a fulfilling and balanced life.